I would like to tell you about a folk tale that has been passed down from generation to generation. This folk tale takes place in a faraway land where near a golden mountain. There, in this place, is a merchant's son who loved to spend money. He loved to spend it so much that he ended up spending it all. I spent all my money, and I am so hungry. I will take my shovel and go down to the marketplace and see if I can find some work. At the marketplace, a rich, proud merchant came along in the gliding carriage. All the fellows at the market saw him, and they all rushed to hide. Only one merchant's son remained. "Does thou look for work, good fellow?" "So be it. That is why I came here." "And thy price?" 100 rubles a day will be suffice." "Why so much?" "If too much, go and look for someone else." Plenty of people were around, and when they saw thee coming, all of them rushed away. "All right, tomorrow come to the landing."
The next day, early that in the morning, our merchant's son arrived at the landing. The very rich merchant was already there waiting. They boarded his ship and went to sea. For quite a long time they journeyed, and finally they perceived an island. Upon the island there were high mountains, and near the shore something seemed to be in flame. "Yonder is something like fire." "No, it is my golden palace." They landed and came ashore, and looked there. The rich merchant's wife is hasty to meet him, and along with her their daughter, a lovely girl, pretty than you could think or even dream of. The family met. They greeted one another and went to the palace. Along with them went their new workmen. They sat around the oak table and ate and drank and were cheerful. "One day does not count. Let us have a good time and leave work for tomorrow." The young workman was fine, brave fellow, handsome and steadily, and the merchant's lovely daughter liked him well. She left the room and made a sign to follow her. Then she gave him a touchstone and a flint. "Take it. When thou art in need, it will be useful."
The next day, the very rich merchant with his hired workmen went to the high golden mountains. The young fellow saw at once that there was no use trying to climb or even to crawl up. "Well, let's have a drink for courage." And he gave the fellow some drowsy drinks. The fellow drank and fell asleep. The rich merchants took out a sharp knife, killed a wretched horse, cut it open, put the fellow inside, pushed in the shovel, sewed the horse's skin together, and himself sat down in the brushes. All at once a crow came flying, the black crows and the iron beaks. They took hold of the carcass, lifted it up to the top of the high mountains, and began to pick at it. The crows soon ate up the horses, and were about to begin on the merchant's son, when he awoke, pushed away the crows, looked around, and asked out loud, "Where am I?" "On the golden mountain. Take the shovel and dig for gold." The young man dug, and all the gold he dug he threw down to the rich merchants, landed it upon the carts. "Enough! Thanks for thy help. Farewell." "And how shall I get down?" "As those peasants, there have already perished 99 of such fellows as thy. With this the count should be rounded, and thou wilt be the 100th. The proud merchant was off. What should I do? Impossible to go down, but to stay here means death, a cruel death from hunger. And our fellow stood upon the mountain, while above the black crows were circling, the black crows with iron beaks, as if feeling already the prey. The fellow tried to think of how all had happened, and he remembered the lovely girl, what she said to him in giving him the touchstone and the flint. He remembered how she said, "Take it when thou art in need.
will prove useful. I fancy she had something in mind. Let us try. The poor merchant's son took out the stone and flint, struck it once, and lo! 2 brave fellows were standing before him. "What is thy wish? What are thy commands?" "Take me from the mountain down to the seashore." At once the 2 took hold of him and carefully brought him down. Our hero walked along the shore. "See, there, a vessel comes sailing near the island." "Oi, good people, take me along." "No time to stop." As they sailed by, but the wind arose and the tempest was heavy. "It seems as if the fellow over there is not an ordinary man. We had better go back and take him along." They turned the prow towards the island, landed, took the merchant's son along with them, and brought him to his native town. It was a long time, or perhaps only a short time after, who could tell, that one day the merchant's son took again his shovel and went to the marketplace in search of work. The same very rich merchants came along in his gliding carriage, and as all the fellows who saw him coming rushing away, the merchant's son remained alone. "Will you be my workman?" "I will, at 200 rubles a day. If so, let us to work." "A rather expensive fellow." "It's too expensive. Go to others. Get a cheap man. There were plenty of people, but when thou didst appear, thou seest themselves not one is left." "Well, all right. Come tomorrow to the landing place." They met at the landing place, boarded a ship, and sailed toward the island. The first day they spent rather gaily, and on the second, master and workman went to work. When they reached the Golden Mountain, the rich, proud merchant treated his hired man to a tumbler. "Before all, have a drink." "Wait, master. Thou art the head. Thou must drink the first. Let me treat thee this time." The young man had already prepared some of the drowsy stuff, and he quickly mixed it with the wine and presented it to the master. The proud merchant drank and fell asleep. Our merchant's son killed a miserable old horse, cut it open, pushed his master and the shovel inside, sewed it all up, and hid him in the bush. All at once Black Rose came flying. Black Rose with iron beaks. They promptly lift up the horse with the sleeping merchant inside, bore it to the top of the mountain, and began to pick at the bones of their prey. When the merchant awoke, he looked here and looked there and looked everywhere. "Where am I?" "Upon the Golden Mountain. Now if thou art strong enough thy slept, do not lose it time. Take the shovel and dig. Dig quickly, and I'll teach thee how to come down." The rich merchants had to obey and dug and dug. 12 big carts were loaded. "Enough! Thank thee, and farewell." "And I?" "And thou mayest do as thy wishes. There are already 99 fellows perished before thee. With thyself there will be 100. The merchant's son took along with him the 12 heavy carts with gold, arrived at the Golden Palace, and married the lovely girl. The rich merchant's daughter became mistress of her father's wealth, and the merchant's son with his family moved to a large town to live. And the proud rich merchant, he himself, like many victims, became the prey of the Black Crows, the Black Crows with iron beaks. Well, sometimes it happened just so.